probably be using that on your patients. Okay? So, hemodynamics, that's a fancy way of saying blood flow. Our goal, I'd say, as nurses, probably our primary objective is to maximize blood flow in everything that we do. Reason being is we need blood flow for perfusion. I would say perfusion is pretty important. Anybody disagree with that? I didn't think so. Obviously, that's what is responsible for our oxygen delivery, our nutrient delivery, and without it, you end up with death. So, what are the components of perfusion? It's oxygen and nutrient delivery, obviously. What do we need to make that happen? Okay, a couple of them listed there already. Hemoglobin, you need that to carry the oxygen. Obviously, you have to have oxygen to carry. And then you have to have cardiac output. Does anybody know the formula for cardiac output? The other know this is going to be interactive. Yeah, that's it. I knew somebody knew the answer. There's stroke volume. There's heart rate. So, these are the two areas that we can manipulate to change our cardiac output. We don't usually mess with heart rate unless it's too fast. We don't like to speed it up because it comes with a whole list of side effects. So primarily we target stroke volume. There are three areas that we can work on stroke volume. They are preload, afterload, and contractility. If you are having a perfusion problem, those are the only three things you can target to fix it. And as you're going to see here in a second, the monitor shows you all three components separately. Pop quiz, identify that structure. You can't tell me what that is, we got bigger issues. I just want you to basically know that when I say contractility, I am talking about the muscle itself. When I say preload, I'm talking about volume coming from the IVC and the SVC. When I say afterload, anything from the aortic valve on. Afterload is the resistance the heart has to overcome to move blood forward. I think this is a fantastic little moving the graphic here. Every time the leg pumps, that's your heart rate. Contractility, how hard am I pushing on the accordion? Stroke volume, every time that heart contracts, that's the volume moving forward. Afterload, if you have any sort of stricture or resistance, that's what the heart's working against. So, an easier way to break down those three areas is preload. That's going to be fluid, IV fluid. That's going to increase your preload, giving volume, or recompartmentalizing the volume that the patient already has. Contractility, now we're talking about drugs. You're going to have to inotrope sometimes. It's also going to be where your electrolytes are important. If you have a potassium imbalance, your contractility is going to be off. And then afterload, your vasopressors, or your vasodilators, depending on which one you need. So let's talk about preload. I like to talk about preload first because it's the easiest thing to treat. It's fluid. You don't have to wean somebody off of fluid, and you can give it pretty freely. We're going to see here in a second, it's not always the best thing to do, but it's simple. If our patient's having a problem, what's the first thing we do? We start an IV, we start running fluid. These are a few of the things that are going to affect you. Obviously, volume's one, diuretic. If you over-diurese your CHF patient, he doesn't have enough preload. He's not in heart failure, he's dry. Vascular tone. If you have somebody on pressors and they are over-constricted, you're not going to be able to move that volume forward. On the same note, if their venous system is too dilated out and they're pooling, you're not going to have good preload. RV function. If the right side's not pushing it to the left side, you've got nothing. The atria, if they're not preloading the ventricles, you've got nothing. And then arrhythmias. If your heart is not relaxing appropriately, you're not going to feel the ventricles like you should. Any sort of increase in pressure, whether it be within the lung space or the pericardium itself, if you are infringing on that filling space, you're hurting your preloads. I'll just talk about preload fluid. Why is it so important? I call this the Goldilocks curve. The proper name for it is the Bellamy curve. But it basically lists out the issues with too little volume or too much volume. You see here, obviously, if you're bleeding out and you're hypovolemic, you're not going to perfuse, you're going to get organ failure. But on the flip side of that, if you get too much fluid, you can still cause organ failure. You're going to swell those tissues in your kidneys and your liver, stuff like that. They're going going to swell up and they're not going to function right. So either end of the spectrum, you're going to get organ death, which leads to overall death. At the bottom is a whole list of studies. I know you can barely see them. I'm going to send the slide deck to Denise, so anybody who wants it, she can print it out for you and you'll have it as a reference. But this is the literature that's stacking up to support this. I also make a joke and say that curve represents alcohol intake. Too little is bad, too much is bad. The whole purpose of giving fluid to a patient is to maximize the Starling mechanism. You guys remember Frank Starling law? Now, I compare it a lot to a rubber band. The heart works like a rubber band. If you don't stretch it enough, it doesn't pop you very hard. So let's add fluid to it. Let's stretch a little bit more. It's going to contract or pop back more. But there comes a point where you can overstretch that rubber band and it will break. The heart's the exact same way. Too much preload in a failing heart, you overstretch those muscle fibers, it cannot squeeze back. So think of it like a rubber band. I like this little graphic here because it shows you every patient is an individual. This curve will represent somebody with a weaker heart. They still have room to improve to a point. Somebody with a good healthy heart, you can take them way on up. But note that every patient has the potential to need fluid. We want our patients, if we're going to give volume, to be somewhere on this end of the curve. I want to be able to give preload and drive stroke volume up. But notice every patient has that breaking point where that rubber band's going to overextend. If you continue to give fluid to a patient who's up here on this part of the curve, you will drive them on down to the heart failure side. Okay? Stroke volume. For those of you who have done the passive leg raise, you know that we're looking for an increase in stroke volume index of 10% or more. Same thing goes for the bolus challenge, which we'll talk about here in a little while. Anyway, off to the side here is passive leg raise. I love this. It's a reversible bolus. So for those CHFers or renal disease patients that I want to see if they need fluid, but I don't want to risk giving it to them, let's lay them flat, brace your legs up in there for 3 minutes. If I get a positive test, I can go and hook them up with an IV. Turns out they don't need fluid, sit them up, straighten their legs back out, no harm, no foul. I don't have to dial up from that. So I've got a patient who has no legs. Obviously, they can't do a leg raise. Other option is going to be a bolus challenge. 250 cc's, be within 5 minutes. 250 cc's is less than that cup, so it's not really big. It's really not that much. And after about 15 minutes, only 25 cc's is left in the circulating blood. They're not going to hurt any cat to go that fast. Let's say my patient had no legs, and my only access was a 24 to 50. I can't give a bolus like that. So, we're going to trend our maintenance volume. Straight up, run it in at 70 cc's an hour. Watch what the stroke volume index does over time. If stroke volume index is climbing with your volume going in, you're helping your patient. If you're having a problem and stroke volume index isn't changing, you're not fixing anything. You're just giving fluid. If you're watching stroke volume index fall while your maintenance fluid's running in, please stop that fluid. You're not doing the patient very good. Why is it so important to be assessing before we administer? Because all of these studies, they did one meta-analysis in 2002, they did another one in 2012. Only 50% of the patients in the hospital actually need fluid. How many we give it to? Everybody. Except for the CHFers, we don't give them anything. They must have their own so, this is why it's important to assess, because the patients that we think don't need fluid, a lot of times do. And the patients that have already gotten 3 liters and are still hypotensive, well, what's 1 more liter? Let's just keep rolling. A couple of quick case studies here. This is everybody's favorite liquid, right? I got a question for you. What is the normal pH of the blood? I know y'all can blood gases here. So average about 7.4. Round it up. What is the pH of normal saline? 7.3. So for that patient who comes in septic and renal failure, and I start dumping this into them, am I fixing their lactic acidosis? Not only am I begging the kidneys to fix what was already wrong, now I'm saying, hey, create more buffer so that we can fix this problem. And that's if you stop at 1 liter. Next question. Somebody just hollered out to me the daily recommendation by the American Heart Association for sodium intake. I know you're worried dietitians come. Yep. And max of about 2,000. Average about 1,500. So that's milligrams, right? Milligrams. So max of about 2 grams. How much salt is in those livers? Yeah, there's 0.09% solution. So that brings us to 9 grams. 9 grams in 1 liter. So now, hey kiddies, make more buffer and take all this additional salt that I just dumped into. You're already sick. Keep going. And that's if you stop at 1 liter. How many times do they get 1, 1.5, 2 liters? Oh, they're still getting more. Give another liter. That is the equivalent to 27 bags of these waste potatoes. How normal is that sailing now? For those heart patients, we have them on sodium restricted diets. Yeah. Can't eat the salt. I'm going to give it to you this way. Don't taste very good. So, something to think about. If you stop it. So, what other options do we have? LR, we're getting better. 6 grams. Plasma. That's the go-to solution. And I find a lot of places don't have it. For the lactate range, you're looking at 6 grams of sodium chloride, pH is 6.6, so we're getting better. Plasma is the most normalized crystalline solution on the market right now. If you ever look at your CMP or your DMP, you'll notice that sodium and chloride are not equal in the blood. I think sodium's about 140, chloride 80, 90, somewhere there. Okay. And it's normal saline and lactate rings, all those other solutions, sodium and chloride are equal parts. So if you continue to administer those solutions to your patient, you can send them into a chlorinic acidosis and make them hyperchloremic. Plasma is balanced, so it's a lot safer to give on top of the fact that the pH is 7.4. Now it's a whole lot more like water. I know Baxter makes plasma light. I think Bromosol is an offshoot of it, and that doesn't mix that. But it's a generic version. So those are your crystalline solutions. Obviously, we can always get blood. It's pretty normal, but there's also a lot of preservatives, a lot of anticoagulants in it because of the big store on the shelf. So you got to have a whole type of cost. I know a lot of physicians that won't measure blood for anything less than 7. Then we're looking at our colloid solutions, our albumin, our hair stars. I'm seeing hair stars fall out of favor. I don't see anybody using Hespan or anything like that. And a lot of brands in that come out. Most people are going to albumin. If you need to channel fluid in the right area, we're going to go 25%. If you're just looking to expand volume,